Okay, so good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out to attend our webinar today. Essentially, this is a repeat of the webinar that we ran at Directions EMEA a few weeks ago. Um, Alongside me today, well, firstly, my name's Stuart Stevenson. For those of you that don't know, I head up the Cover Dynamics product team. And alongside me today is Gary Frostick, and he's one of the senior product developers within the team. And for today, he'll be our demo wizard. Between the two of us, we've wrapped up probably half a century's worth of experience in and around the kind of dynamics space, and formerly Navision. We've worked at end users, resellers, and ISVs. So we've got quite a bit of a background and kind of knowledge inside of kind of the product space, but also within manufacturing as well. So let's kind of just take a look at the agenda. It's relatively simple. So we'll just start off by going through a bit about us and kind of our focus on the manufacturing space. We'll then take a look at the applications that we have, and here we're really in the kind of manufacturing and distribution world of things. And we'll show you some of the features that, hopefully you guys as partners will kind of look at and say, yeah, we can use that for our customers. And we'll also take a look at some of the things that we've been working on within our products over the last year. So probably at the point that we presented at Directions last year, looking at the things that we built basically from, things that people had requested, and just bringing up the kind of more depth of functionality within our products. I'll then hand over to Gary, who will do a live demo showing some of the things that we've been building this past year. And for people that haven't seen our products before, obviously this will give you a view of what the products are, not just what we've done since this time last year. And then we'll finish off looking at how we can kind of help you and the support team that we've got in place that can help you from pre-sale through to implementation and any issues that come afterwards. So Clever Dynamics essentially have been an ISV now for around about 10 years. We've certainly not the new kids on the block anymore, and we have a simple mission is we want to build applications in areas where we've got kind of strong industry knowledge that can support you guys as partners, but then also your customers to deliver the things that you need to deliver for them, for their businesses. Essentially, your success in this area very much relates to our success as an ISV, and obviously means that we can build more and better things going forwards. Essentially, we have partners, from the UK, and then as far as field as Australia and New Zealand one way, and the US and Canada going in the other direction. So we're really there, to support you guys as partners with all of the knowledge that we have, all of the capabilities we have, but also the support team that we have as well. Now, our biggest kind of strength really is in manufacturing and distribution. Essentially, we've been involved with many projects in these areas over, well, probably more than the 10 years that we've been running as an ISV. And that's kind of where we like to think that we can add the most value, speaking the language that manufacturing and distribution companies speak, and building products that, eventually lead to the success of your projects, your customers, and maintaining that longevity of support. Essentially, we're here to invest in the products which then invest in your success. So if we talk a little bit about manufacturing and kind of clever manufacturing, as it's kind of stated there, and just kind of the background of that and how we operate, essentially we tackle it from two kind of pathways. The first is the knowledge that we have, and as I've said, working around manufacturers for many years, we've gained knowledge of different types of manufacturing, process manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, and many different types of industries and customer requirements. So we've got the people that know that industry, and then we basically built the functionality to support, where Business Central essentially is a little bit weak, let's say, and we try to do that across, the width of requirements, but also building down into the depth. So, not just saying we can do that with a little tick box, but actually saying how can we really ensure we can do that, from the top level down to the level of detail that customers essentially need. We believe that many of the things that we've built are essentially quirks in manufacturing or processes in manufacturing that Business Central and Microsoft will probably never kind of plug the gap for as well. So we're looking at kind of big pain points like real-time information, where let's face it, in terms of a manufacturing environment, Business Central's a bit of a slow coach because it's not up to date, as things are actually happening. And then I think the other area that we've kind of tried to do is fill gaps in process, so where there's a lack of process control. So in Business Central, you can simply go and change a production order bill of materials if you want to. There's no workflow, there's no trace of anybody doing so. So again, we're trying to build things that let what's happening in the real world be represented inside of the system itself. So Business Central, is a good framework, but essentially for me, it just provides a means to hold that data and doesn't really give a great means to improve how that data is actually captured in the first place. So Clever Dynamics and our solutions are essentially, we like to think of them as real, solutions, and that's the key word, really. It's having a suite of applications that, not only work on their own and, offer the functionality improvements that they do, but when used together, they provide a solution throughout that supply chain. Okay. And with that, really the benefits are threefold. We've got improved control, we've got enhanced efficiencies, and with that comes cost savings. So we're not duplicating, we're capturing information where it needs to be captured, and the process is seamless. So let's just come and talk about the applications. So as I said earlier, Business Central is a good start, but it's not the full meal ticket. So what we bring along are 3 core apps, alongside some peripheral apps that kind of, as I said, work in harmony with our other apps. So we've got Clever Manufacturing Plus. Now that's really, as I like to think of it, the extra brains for Business Central. So adding their functionality for engineering change control, for tooling, for byproducts, and then also some analytics so you can see what's happening when and where it's happening in real time. Now, to make that happen, we have our Clever MES solution. So that's our shop floor solution that lets us capture information in real time. Okay, no need for paperwork, so there's no excuse not to be capturing accurate data in an efficient manner where it's happening. And then we've got Clever Quality, which is really more than just basic inventory checks. Okay, this is enabling us to manage quality tests and non-conformance through the supply chain. And for manufacturing, that gives us specific improvements so that we can do things like in-process checks on material before it's a finished product. We can also do equipment inspection and calibration checks on our manufacturing equipment and machines. And then alongside our 3 core manufacturing apps, we've got some team players, as I like to call them, where we're basically enabling a solution from the point of getting stock in the door through that manufacturing process and out to customers. Okay, so these really provide us with an end-to-end solution full with our Clever Dynamics products. And for you guys as partners, We believe that lets you tackle some complex business needs, and this is not just for your existing customers, but it also gives you the opportunity to win new deals in manufacturing spaces where you might not have previously had the capability that some of the customers truly needed. And I didn't just think, that you should sit here and listen to me tell you, what these products do. Okay, I'm obviously going to say that they provide you with a great solution, but I wanted to let you hear from a real customer that's using these products off the shelf to do what they need throughout their business. So let's just play the tape. So hopefully that gave you a kind of good viewpoint of the products from a customer's perspective. I certainly think that it's an impressive kind of use of our solutions. So before we move on to Gary versus the demo gods, I just wanted to give you a little quick update on the things that we've been working on since essentially we presented at Directions EMEA last year. So the first thing we have is our clever MES solution, where we've taken the interface and basically upgraded it to work on a new modern platform. This is still actually in kind of process of being completed, but we can actually give you guys one of the first looks at what that solution looks like outside of the Clever Dynamics team today. And essentially, this is obviously just allowing us to capture real-time stock updates and labor and machine costs, etc., as I've said before. Byproducts have had an update. So here we're talking about improvements to decide how we cost byproducts. So different types of byproducts, have different costing requirements. So you might have different grades, for instance. You might want to attribute cost to byproducts based on the weight that you're outputting. And for things like waste and where you need mass balance requirements and auditing, you can track waste but not actually attribute cost to that waste. Okay, all things that people have kind of fed back that byproducts needs to be able to do. We've also enhanced MES with tooling. So now the two kind of functionalities work with one another. And we've extended tooling to work with fixed assets as well. So you can take a tool from point of acquisition through to maintenance and checking in, checking out on the shop floor through to its disposal. For quality, as I mentioned before, we've also got new changes for equipment inspections. So things like an hourly metal detection test on the shop floor, or maybe a calibration check for a piece of equipment that's used in a quality test. So we can do those things now. And then engineering change controls had a few improvements to it to integrate again tooling, but also to be able to have more rich comments to kind of track narrative in terms of the change control. So these are all things that customers and partners have asked for from us. So essentially, we've invested and we've delivered those changes. So with me speaking is not really a great use of time. I think it's a good chance to hand over to Gary now, so he can actually show us the solution in use. Want to take the floor, Gary?
Yeah, hopefully just share my screen now. Can everybody see that okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So today I'm going to do a very, very quick run through of sort of some of the functionality that we have in the manufacturing area. Obviously, there's too much to sort of show in the scope of the webinar, so the idea is just to give you a bit of a flavour and some of the key areas. So the most important thing, in my opinion, the one thing that Business Central really lacks as standard, is this whole notion of real-time visibility about what's actually happening in the shop floor. So I thought I'd start with our timeline view. So what this actually does is it gives us a view of the current status of any productions that we have live running on the shop floor now. And if we have a look at this this one here, what we actually have on the top is a blue line that shows us when it was planned to start and end, and then the black line is actually what's currently happening on the shop floor. So we can see straight away we've got a production order that started a lot later than we expected. So we can expand that out to try and see what's happening, and we can actually see here that we've now got the operations, and the operations are running much later than we should have been. So we can see the plan and coating should have started back here and is now here. So we can actually see we've got two operations potentially running late, and then we've got a delay here, and then the whole thing is highlighted red because we're finishing much beyond when we were planning to do so. So we can see that we're actually got a problem in injection molding right at the start. So let's investigate that a little bit more. So if I go and look at my machine centers, I can actually see straight away on my list of machine centers, I have got a status, and that is showing that my injection molding is actually highlighted red, so I've got a problem there. So if I actually then look at it, I can see that this machine center is currently stopped for a machine breakdown, and I can even see the production order it's currently working on. So I know that I've got a problem, but I can also see I've got another injection molding machine that's actually got to the end of its shift and currently sitting idle. So it's something that I can potentially shift, production orders to. So straight away, I can actually see in real time that I've got a machine issue, that I've got a problem, all from within Business Central. So let's go and actually have a look at one of these production orders. And while I'm in here, I'm just going to sort of highlight a few little things. So again, we've got a status. We can see the status straight away from within the production order, and I can hit on show progress, and again it shows my routing, and it shows it's running late and when I was starting to do it, and the fact that we're actually already running late on this production order. And a few other things I can just show why I'm in here is again, against this production order we have byproducts. So this is something new that we've added. So a byproduct being the notion of a product that is either a genuine byproduct, we make something and we have another product that is a part of that process, or it could be a disassembly where we have one input and multiple output products. So again, with the byproducts, these work a bit like components, and we've got a routing link code, so we can say at what point they get produced, and they will be treated like additional output of the production order. The other thing I just want to show while I'm in here, so we look at the routing. Again, if we go to tools, rather than just a standard list of tools like we have in normal Business Central, we've actually got more details about the tool. So it's got attributes, it's got a picture, and if we go and actually look at the tool cards, we can track details of the tool, its usages, when it needs maintenance, and it can be checked in or out to production order, either through the production order in Business Central or through our MES solution. And then again, we're maintaining a full audit trail of the tools, what production orders they used on. If we highlight a problem, we can then go and actually see where a tool was used and resulting production orders. So just going back to our problematic production order, what I can now do from within the production order is I can propose a change because we've got a problem. So if I go into here, I can create a change request. So what this would do is it would create a new document to propose a change, and this can either be done on an individual production order, or we can do it to propose changes to production BOM or version or byproduct or version or routing or version, or as an item as a whole and everything related to it. So we've got a full change process and audit trail of any changes that actually happen. But in this case, I'm doing it for an individual production order. So I can look at my my machine, my injection molding machine, and I can select substitution. And if I was to select substitution, what it's going to actually do is it's going to remove my 505 injection molding machine and replace it with the 500 injection molding. So that's proposed change, and then I can put a justification in there. So I'm just going to say machine breakdown. And then while I'm in here, I can do a few things. So I can have a look at my statistics. And what this will actually show is the impact of the change. So obviously I haven't changed my materials, but because I've changed my machines, there's actually a 21% increase in my capacity cost. So I can see my overall change thing, and I can actually see my cost per unit is actually changed by £2 as a result of the change. So again, we've got that view and control of what's actually happening. And again, from within here, we can do things like look at our routing and see existing and proposed routing diagrams and things like that. And again, if it's bit of material, we can see an exploded bit of material showing the differences if we'd actually made a material change. So when I'm actually happy with this, I can seek approval. Obviously, I'm my own approver, so I can approve it myself, self-approve. But it could be an approval using standard Business Central approvals or a Power Automate workflow. And then when I'm happy, I can register it. And what registering does is it creates an engineering change order. So that's a full record of what's happened, what's changed, permanently linked to the released and then finished production order. So you've got the full audit trail, and it will actually go away and update the source document with the changes we've made. So now I've obviously made a change, we can actually go in and look at what we do in MES itself to actually sort of capture our real-time shop floor information. So this is our MES solution. This is the new version, as Stuart said, so it can actually run on any sort of Android device or Windows device. And basically what we're doing is recording what's actually happening in the shop floor. So I'm just going to go in and pick one of my machine centers. Excuse me. And then it's asking me to confirm my operator, something myself. And what this is then showing us is a list of all the production orders that we currently have. for this machine center. So I'm just going to pick one. So then what we have is giving the key information to the operator, but keeping it as simple as possible. So we're only giving them the information they need to process what they have to do at that machine center. So this is designed to be sort of fully touchscreen and easy for them to use. So we've basically got the details we've got to do. We can record our components if there are any components that are manually flushed. And again, if we've got lotted products, we record the lot number. We can actually link to weigh scales to record the weight. And we can actually link instructions or anything that we might want to need, or free-form comments, or anything that assists the operator in what they actually need to do. So I'm just going to go back in. So what the user can effectively do is start the production order. And you'll see that this production order is currently in a setup stage. So we're recording the actual setup time to do it. When we're actually happy, we can stop it. We can say the setup time has been completed. And then we're in the run stage. So if we actually start running, we're actually recording the time we're spending on it. We can also have things like attributes. We have to record a specific data as part of the production process that goes back into Business Central. We can set that up. So in this case, I've got one for grade. So I can actually select a grade information and record that back into Business Central. So when I've completed this operation, I can output and it's then showing my quantity completed, and stop when I'm happy. So I will just say production order has been completed. So if we just go back into Business Central and now look at my quality orders, we can actually generate, as part of that, as part of the output, automatically a quality order. So this has been set up as a in-process production order. So we can see it's come from production order document number, related to machine center, and then we've got a series of quality checks that we can record, either lookups, numeric, text, information, or again things like weights and the like. So we can record any photographs or comments against it and actually do a full quality check before we then progress with the next operation in the production order. But also we can see that while Stuart was talking earlier, the system's actually generated another quality order as part of a time thing to do a metal check on one of our other machines. So again, we can do this periodic check against a machine, against a tool, against a fixed asset, anything like that. And again, if it fails the test, what it will do is it'll automatically block that. And again, we can see the net effect of that particular thing being taken out of operation. So that was what I was planning on showing today. So I'm going to pass you back over to Stuart, and then we can take any questions afterwards.
Cool. Thank you, Gary. Let me just share my screen back. Okay. Right, so hopefully you can see my screen, and hopefully you liked what you just saw from Gary. I mean, was really just a glimpse. There's lots more kind of behind that, but we obviously only have limited time to show you, some of it today. Um, but I think the biggest thing, from my perspective is for kind of just saying to you guys to think about, what customers, you know, would benefit from what you've just seen and these sorts of solutions. Where could they fit in, and not just your current customers, but thinking of new opportunities as well. Like I said earlier, some of those deals that came passed over the desks, and you went, well, we can't do that, so we can't compete. We believe that this functionality really does let you tackle a new market if you're not currently within it. But having said that, for the final few minutes, I just wanted to kind of touch on how we can help support you guys as partners, and just to kind of show you a few of the things where we think we can add value to getting you guys on board, but then using our solutions for your customers. So in terms of taking on, obviously becoming a Clever Dynamics partner, or if you're already a partner and taking on new products from us, we realize that it's an investment from you as well. So time to learn these things, time to embed them into your pre-sales processes, etc. But we offer help. Essentially, we can support you guys with internal demos to your internal teams to bring them up to speed, but also pre-sales. So it might be a niche area to you guys where you've seen something we do will fill a gap, and you just want a simple demo just to show what the solution has to offer. So we can do that. And then we've also helped partners recently kind of on a wider spectrum to actually, help them with a solution walkthrough. So where they're proposing how Business Central and a suite of, third-party apps will work together to provide that customer solution. We've kind of played the part of, piggybacking into something like MES or Manufacturing Plus, where you might not have the kind of knowledge to do so at that point in time. So we've got consultants within our team that can, help you guys with those things essentially as you need to. And the main message is really that you don't need to learn everything up front, before you even, got a customer in mind to actually use that functionality for. We believe essentially that the more support we can give you guys through an implementation, the smoother it will be, for you, but also your customers. So, happy customers, a happy you, and a rewarding partnership with us as Clever Dynamics. When it comes to learning, essentially we've got, documentation to support all of our apps. So you can find that on the Docs website for Clever Dynamics. And we've also got training videos on YouTube. So we've got a channel there, and it's really an area I will say that we're going to be investing in very much so over the next kind of 6 to 9 months to make sure that some of those older videos we have are updated, but we're also going to kind of break down the functionality that our apps have to offer into smaller chunks, so you can almost create yourself a playlist for an app and binge on it for an hour to kind of see examples of how the functionality works, rather than just reading content on the doc site, which hopefully will be more engaging and get you up to speed faster. On our partner portal, we've also, started to give that a little bit of a makeover. So for those of you that are existing partners, you'll know that if you've got kind of customers that are still on premise, we do publish our apps on our portal, so you can grab them and go and install them. But what you will also see over the next coming months is some more investment there in marketing materials, so things like product fact sheets, so you can go and download those and give those to prospects. But also we're working on a demo solution. So essentially the view there is to provide a demo data set for each of our apps, and also a scripted presentation to go along with it, Well, the ultimate goal that we want to make pre-sales and training on our apps easier, and for you to be able to almost install a demo, to go through the script and immediately kind of learn that application, but really portray to potential customers that exactly how that solution works without having to, research it for 3 months and play with it for another 3 months. So like I say, I watch this space on those things there. We'll publish some information when we've got some things there, but we are working heavily on that at this point in time. And I just wanted to touch on extensibility, because we do realize that applications are not always going to be a perfect fit for the customer's requirements, and we've basically planned for that fact. So our apps are extensible for you guys as partners to make those, tweaks and modifications where you need to. Whilst alongside that, we are still obviously looking at, new features in Business Central and adapting the products for them. Okay, so it's a two-pronged attack there. We're constantly investing in new features as they come out and to support new features offered by Microsoft, but we know we can't cover everything all of the time. To aid that, we have a policy really that we don't hide any of our code. I have a strong belief that the value of Clever Dynamics and who we are is not in lines of code, but it's in the people and the knowledge that they have to essentially, come up with the ideas and to use that industry knowledge to make sure we're creating the right solutions. In today's world, artificial intelligence can write the code for you, but you've got to know what you need and that it's a fit for that requirement to be able to use it in the best way possible. Essentially, all of this is backed up by a trust model. So essentially, you invest in us as a partner, we will invest back into you, which we believe is a tried and trusted win-win recipe that we've used for many years. But we also know that things do go wrong. Software essentially is not a robust, permanent and guaranteed method. Essentially, each new line of code that we might write into a product could end up with a bug if someone uses the product in the way that we hadn't designed it to be used. But for that, we've got a dedicated support team, and we've got problem solvers that can help you with quick questions in terms of knowledge gaps, through to minor fixes that might have workarounds, to the show-stopping, big headaches. And alongside all of that, we have a escalation process. So we can basically ensure that depending on the severity, we will take the remedial actions that we need to. And when we talk of minor bugs and things, we would generally, slot them into our release schedule. And if we were talking of a showstopper, you would probably find that we would jump on that and have a release to resolve that issue outside of our normal release schedule. Essentially, our products need to work for customers, so we will take the steps that we need to resolve any issues in the right way. And then in terms of our products and changes and feature requests from customers, we've got a full process essentially there to ensure that things that come through our support as questions, queries, and can it do's, or ideas essentially from customers or yourself, we make sure that we don't just bypass them and do our own thing. I believe that the customers' ideas are often the gold dust that sells our next subscription essentially. So we have a feature review. If that gets approved, then that's essentially a free upgrade for you in the solution without you having to then support or maintain any bespoke code that you would have to do in a traditional model. So I'll just say, we love feedback. All ideas are welcome. Those ideas will be, treated in the same way each and every time. And we also have a full feedback loop, so we will keep you involved with what's going on within that development process. And with that, just kind of a few final thoughts essentially of what we've been talking about today. We've been here for a fair while now. Essentially, we're established. We're established in the industry. We have people dedicated to knowing what's going on the industry. We also implement our own solutions with customers, so we understand pain points, and we try to build solutions that assist customers with their requirements rather than hindering them. So we hope to work alongside a business process rather than a piece of technology basically dictating what a customer needs to do. Our solutions are obviously, as I've said earlier, built to be integrated with one another so that provides customers with a seamless experience through their supply chain. And with you guys, that then obviously provides you the ability of implementing the solution that a customer needs with a reduced risk and obviously hopefully lots less stress. And then when things do go wrong, obviously I've just touched on the fact that we have that dedicated support team who are your safety net when you need it, essentially. So our entire goal here is really to help you grow your manufacturing business with the confidence that you're delivering the right solution for customers. And really just to kind of reiterate that this is a partnership. So we're in this with you guys, and we'll support you through that kind of pre-sale and onboarding processes that I spoke about earlier, essentially knowing that your success basically brings with it our success. And with that, I'd like to open up the floor to any questions that anybody has.
I have one. If
Yes.
you can hear me. So have you had experience with connecting your solutions to other extensions in Business Central apart from base Business Central functionality?
Would that be from a other third party or just per tenant extensions?
Yes, another third party.
So we have worked with some. I probably, from a manufacturing perspective, I don't believe we have. I'll probably pass it over to Gary, but from some of our other solutions, we do work with ISVs that we would kind of recommend as the best. And in fact, having said we haven't in manufacturing, one springs to mind straight away, which I totally forgot about, which is Netronics. So if you know Netronics from a scheduling perspective, we actually worked with Martin at Netronics for many years before they sold that solution to Boyum. But essentially, we have some things there in MES that ensure that when you, for instance, start that production order in MES, it goes and updates the right information in Business Central, which we know Netronic use to essentially lock their scheduler from, replanning the production orders on the simulations that they, have there as their kind of baseline of functionality. So we've tended to look at kind of integrating with people that are offering things, that we don't necessarily offer, and also where we've considered that, something like the Netronics scheduling solution, is widely used and probably, best of breed for Business Central. So we tend to try and stick to what we do as strengths, and also then, integrate with other providers in areas that are their strengths.
Is there any particular app you were thinking of?
It's a very specialized app. It's an extension for Business Central that relates to the print industry, and it has its own sort of production orders. And I was curious to see if your solutions would be technically a substitution for some of the some of the parts that they have, like the shop floor, time collection, material consumption, view into details of productions and things like that. It's called Printris. You might have heard about it.
Okay, not one I particularly know, I'm afraid, but we do as a general principle when we build on top, make sure we don't break or take out any standard functionality we build on top. So, if there's an app that's reliant on anything as standard functionality, it should still work absolutely fine.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, if there's no more questions, then I think the last thing I would like to do is to thank everybody for their time today. Obviously, we're all busy people, so we really do appreciate you listening to what we have to say, and hopefully, you can see where those solutions could be used and beneficial. Our web address is obviously on the screen now, and there's an email contact if you do have any questions afterwards. As always, feel free to reach out to us, and we can open up any further discussions that we need to. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.